Hello everyone, welcome to Crystal Eclipse. My name is Jessica. In this video, we'll be asking the cards about the person on your mind and whether or not they miss you, if they're thinking about you, if you're ever on their mind, basically. I have 4 stacks for you all to choose from today. Remember, when you're choosing your deck, especially for readings like this, where it concerns somebody else's energy, somebody else's emotions, try to channel a lot of their energy into this. Try to call on them to see what stack they're sort of drawn to, and then choose with their energy which stack you sort of like lean toward. Might be multiple stacks, so don't ever disregard like 2 stacks, or if you're drawn to 2 equally, 3 equally, just take whatever you feel is actually meant for you, is actually designed for you, and sort of leave the rest to the universe. I have 4 stacks for you all today. We have this clear quartz moon, this blue calcite little egg, this rose quartz little thinking stone, and then lastly we have over here this labradorite. This is purple flash labradorite. It has like a purple shift to it. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. So once again, choose whichever stack or stacks you, this person, call you to, and we'll get started. You can check the description box or the comment section for timestamps if you'd like to skip directly to those stacks. Starting with our first stack, once again, we have that clear quartz moon over there. I've already laid out all the cards. I'll go over them quickly just so you know what's out here. We have the Lovers, the Queen of Wands in reverse. I will note on that in a second. The Ace of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Wheel, the Six of Shells, which would be the Six of Cups with sentiment and joy. We have the Shaman, which would normally be the Hierophant with divine wisdom and spiritual powers. Then lastly, we have our Oracle cards here with the Fates as well as Soulmates. So I do want to note on the Queen of Wands, when I was pulling out these cards, if you've ever watched my channel before, you already know this, but if you're new here, normally I only draw upright. I don't have reversals in a deck. So for this card to come out reverse, there's actually a very different energy that's coming through with this person. Almost like they've sort of rechanneled their energy into something that is more positive or more progressive for them. We have what is almost like equal energy coming out 3 times within the Lovers, the Six of Shells up there, and then we have that Soulmates card. So we have a very strong connection here, and it's something that's pretty undeniable. And I feel like from the start, when you first met this person, there was something there that was like, this is the one, you know, this is the one that's unforgettable, this is the one that you're meant to be with, this is the one that, you know, you have a much stronger connection than what you can explain. But it seems like with the Fates especially coming through here, it seems like something that almost had to be handed over to a higher power. You know, it had to be handed over to whoever it is you believe in for them to sort things out, because it seemed like things just weren't going to move forward in a way that was successful, like if it was just in your control or just your willpower pushing it forward. And I say that because of the way that the Queen of Wands has come out. Normally we see somebody who has high energy in its upright position, and since it is surrounded by positive cards within the Lovers as well as the Ace of Cups, we have more of a positive reading on that reversal. And that would be, sometimes you see somebody who's a little too in their own head, you know, a little too in their own way of evaluating things, and not willing to listen to others, not willing to hear another person's point of view. Somebody who might be more like hot-headed, quick to an argument, or somebody who just feels like they're ultimately always right. But since we're seeing the reversal of that, we see respect for their own opinion, their own standpoint, but now we're actually seeing the entrance of somebody who respects others, somebody who is slower to react, somebody who is less hot-tempered. So if anything, we're seeing somebody who doesn't have that ego that is like overboard like it might have been in the past. So that makes them more approachable, and we see that with the Ace of Cups as somebody that you can go toward. And I feel like with this energy, it might have been for a time there that they weren't necessarily missing you. Like you felt like they just, you know, either moved on and were like completely fine, and there was no attachment there, and you're almost like, you know, did you even make an impact on this? But now we see that reevaluation and that sort of like flip side of things, and the Nine of Wands comes out. And to go from the Queen of Wands to the Nine of Wands is this big ego shift of like feeling like you're in control. You have things you know, pretty much set the way you want. There's no regrets, no looking at the past. But here we realize there are some wounds there. There's the decision to move forward, but there are wounds. So we're seeing things sort of like in a different mindset from their point. So I do feel like they do miss you. They do think about you. But I feel like in the beginning, they might not have because of that ego. Now they're moving into a stage where they're realizing what they lost, what they're missing, what they don't have, and what they will continue sort of like not to have, you know, for whatever duration. If you end up, you know, reuniting, reconciling, but despite all that, it's like they're seeing what is no longer there. So they had the lovers, they had that bond, that connection that was like, you know, super spiritual, something that was divinely guided, something that was placed there from a higher source, and then they sort of lost it because of whatever they did. And then we see that progression of sort of like clarity within, you know, the Hierophant card, that seeing things for what they truly were, the Six of Shells, that soulmate energy, that re-entry, and the growth that comes from that Six of Shells, and then back into the soulmates. And I think there's a part of them that really feels like almost like they're praying or they're wishing, you know, there's something that they're sending out into the universe, like, if you give me another chance to do things right, I'll do them the right way. So they're almost like I said, there's almost like this energy of, if I hand it over to a higher power, perhaps it'll work out, or perhaps they'll give me this opportunity. Perhaps something will come from this that would allow that second chance. And we see it almost like, I almost want to say like there's 3 chances here, and I'm not sure, like that might be specifically for one person who feels like you gave them a chance and then it ended poorly, and then you gave them another chance and ended up just as bad as it did the first time. Now there's this final chance, and I feel like there will be a sign from the universe that if this is allowed, then it will be the right try. For anybody else, it just seems like, you know, if there weren't those multiple roundabouts, with the wheel coming through, it does seem like here, since times are changing, there's a reimagining of things. There's a focusing onto the important things. And we see it in many cards, but more important, or most importantly, the wheel. The wheel has to move forward in order to get to, you know, the next stage, then the next level. We're not seeing strong like equal energy here. We have a lot of air and wand coming through. We have also well, actually we have equal fire to cup. We don't have a lot of air, but we have air equal to earth. So it's sort of like, where it's slow is communication. There's a lot of energy here on this person's side. There's a lot of like desire to move forward, a lot of like, you know, plans, but nothing is actually put into motion, because we see the minimal coming out as the actual movement. And it's sort of like saying it's delayed because this person is almost like fearful of what to do, you know, of maybe bearing their soul, to maybe telling you the truth, maybe you know, apologizing, admitting to something, or even saying, you know, I need to work on myself, I need to improve myself. But with all of that, I think if there might be a second go at that, if the fates allow it, meaning if the higher powers allow it. I think this person might not have had the ability to let go of their ego to think about you in the beginning, but now that they're in this different stage, it's a constant cycle in their head. They're constantly thinking about you. There's something that comes up quite a bit, and I think even when they don't realize it, you know, like the smallest things that happen, you know, it goes back to you. But that's what I'm seeing here with this first deck and that clear quartz moon. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I do hope, you know, sincerely that was able to answer your questions or give you some sort of, you know, insight into this matter. I send you all the positive vibes, all the good energy and well wishes. Please have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye. Starting with our second stack here, we have that blue calcite egg. I've already laid out all the cards for you, so we'll go over them quickly so that you know which ones they are. Starting over here, we have Wheel of Fortune, Knight of Cups, Knight of Pentacles. We have the Emperor, the King of Cups. Over here, we have the Ace of Feathers, which would normally be the Ace of Swords, with mental clarity and foundation. We have the Page of Shells, which would be the Page of Cups, with intuition and inspiration. Then over here, we have our Oracle cards with a change in the wind, as well as come to the edge. So we have a very interesting sort of display of cards. And I feel like with this one, it has a very similar energy to the first stack. So if you were drawn to the first stack, but you felt like, you know, you couldn't decide between the two of them. It might be that you get sort of like two sides to the same story between the two of them. But with this one, it's interesting because I'm feeling a stronger energy, which might be their current, like present energy of them almost playing it cool, but thinking of you constantly. So it seems like they miss you. You're on their mind. I do, for some reason, want to say there's something that keeps popping into my mind saying, I'm working on myself. So like, give me some time. I'm trying. And I'm not sure why I'm thinking like, I'm trying. I'm doing my best right now. It might not seem like it, but I'm doing all that I can to get there. And there's movement, there's setbacks, there's an interesting flow of things. And I say that because we have the forward movement of the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Feathers. They're all like moving forward. But a change in wind comes along, and it's almost like it appears as a setback, right? But it's not a setback because it's interesting. It's almost like it's well, if you see the card, maybe I should show you the card. If you look at it close, right? Let me see if I can get this to focus. It looks like it's going in the opposite direction, but if we look up here, it says north and south. So it's still headed north, which, in a lot of ways you can interpret that like religiously or scientifically, whatever, as still headed forward, headed toward a goal, headed toward home. And I see that as still movement. It might seem like sometimes there is a setback or there's a delay, but it's constant movement. And we see that with the Wheel of Fortune, and we see that with the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles. That's where I'm getting that similar energy, because it's coming off almost as slow movement. Like with the first deck, there's a little bit of a slow movement, and within those two cards there is a major slow movement. They're the slowest moving of the knights, but the good thing is these two knights do it right. They get things done right the first time. So there's not a do-over. There's not a hold on, let me try again. This is, I'm fixing myself at the moment, so when the second time comes around, I'm in the right place. And that way, when it's all said and done right, it's complete. There's something that's there that you can feel happy with. I think on the outside, like I said, there's like this, we have the emperor energy, and then we have the King of Cups. And sometimes the Emperor has that like, I'm not missing anyone kind of vibe, like, in your dreams I'd miss you. But in reality, behind that, we see the King of Cups, which is the one that's like, the most loving, the one that's most in tune with their emotions. And that's the one that says, like, more than anything, I miss you. More than anything, you're the one that I think of constantly. You're always on my mind. And there's always what ifs and whys, and I should have, but I didn't. And that's this cycle. And we have the King of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Page of Cups coming out here. And they're all like those top tier emotion cards, the ones that really say a lot about like their energy toward you, especially with these, because we're not seeing the Queen of Cups, because I'm feeling like regardless of gender, I feel like your energy would be in the Queen of Cups, with the almost like the patience, but the knowledge to say no, the patience to say, I'll give them the opportunity to apologize or face the facts, or at least re-enter my life as a friend and see where this can go. You have that ability to at least see it truthfully, but you're almost like reserved when it comes to their energy. You don't want to put it all back out there because you don't want to get hurt, or you don't want it to repeat, but that's what I'm saying, like with that Queen, because normally the Queen of Cups is, she's loving, but she's also hesitant toward letting somebody in. But we're seeing King of Cups, which is like full on, all in like the relationship, all in the environment. They're willing to show you how they feel. They're willing to tell you, move forward with that. So we see it true in the Knight of Cups. The Page of Shells does have that fresh energy, and it is coming through with the Ace of Feathers as a quick energy. So I feel like currently they're missing you. They want to move things forward. They want to complete old cycles. They want to cancel out things from the past that delayed them and caused them issues. And they want to move forward in a good way, in a solid way. But we're seeing that fresh energy and that quick energy. So once they get through this, once they actually solidify their energy within the Emperor and the King of Shells, like to have both energies coming out, then we could see where that Ace of Feathers, that Page of Shells energy comes through, that fresh start and that movement forward. I do think that they are trying to be as sincere as possible, and that's why we're it's like a true missing you energy, a true like wanting to see what could happen, or at least reconnect with you, and I feel like in a way they almost like they miss just talking to you. They miss hearing your voice, just talking on the phone, spending time together, getting that, like good morning message or whatever it might have been. The things that they took for granted, a lot of the time with the Emperor, you see the one that is almost like it becomes so like familiar that it's no longer something special, and then because of that they don't realize how lucky they are or how important that was to them. So these are the things that they're acknowledging now. We see that Ace of Feathers has that mental clarity, right? So it's the ability to see things for what they're worth rather than to sort of sit in that like I'm deserving of that, or that's perfectly normal. But it is, I really feel like that this one, if it is connected to the first deck, like if you were drawn to that one, I feel like this energy is more so their current energy rather than the progressive energy that was present within the first deck. This is like how they feel now, and they're just sort of like planning things out, and that's why we see slower movement here, because they're in that sort of like planning stage, how to reconnect, what to say, how not to screw things up, and just how to approach you in the right way, because I do feel heavily like they miss you and they think about you, and they would love to just have something almost as normal as it used to be, but knowing that it won't ever be like that normal unless they really do something special. But that's what I'm seeing here with the second stack and that blue calcite. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I hope some of that, all of that, whatever portion of it you watched was able to provide you with some answers. I send you all the positive vibes, all the good energy, all the well wishes. Please have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye bye. Starting with our third stack, we have that rose quartz thinking stone over there. I've already laid out all of the cards for you, so I'll go over them quickly so you know what's here. So we have that King of Pentacles, the Fool, the Magician. We have Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, Four of Shells, which would normally be for the Four of Cups with soul searching and reevaluation. We have the Six of Feathers with transition and insight. This would normally be the Six of Swords. We have flexible as well as building blocks as our two oracle cards. Now, the first thing I thought when I was laying these out, I had only seen the King of Pentacles. That was the first card that was out, and I thought, oh, we're dealing with somebody who's stubborn, who's probably, missing you terribly, but they're going to deny it because they don't want to admit that they're missing you terribly, because that stubborn, like, no, I made the right decision, or this was the right call, is coming out. And then I saw the rest of them, like, yeah, they do miss you. But it's interesting because the Four of Shells came out, that Four of Cups, and I saw soul searching, stand out to me. And soul searching was like, for some reason, really almost like grabbing at me. So it became my primary interest within this reading. I do want to say this person does miss you, and it's a lot of self-evaluation that they're going through, and I think that they've been going through, because we see the Fool, which is a start, right? We see the Fool, that is the fresh start, the new beginning. Then we see the Magician, sort of like balancing things out, mastering all ideas, everything that you can to create a better overall mindset, better position in life, more awareness of your output and input, what you're giving to others and what you're allowing in, what you're allowing to stick to you and shape your character, and what you're sort of like pushing off on others. So it's a lot of sort of like recentering that's going on. And then we see that move again. We come through the Ace of Pentacles, and I feel like a past energy for them seemed to have been one where they either ignored what they were doing, or they went about it in a way where you were like, why can't you just be upfront with it? Why can't you go about this in the honest way? Why is it that you can't just tell me, to my face what's going on? Why is it always like almost like secretive, or like you're the one that's out of the know, unnecessarily? Like I said, there seems to be no reason for this. But with them, I don't think they realized what they were sabotaging to, like, during those moments. They didn't realize what they were doing, and now they've gone through that soul searching, that reevaluation of fixing themselves, realizing it's almost like, I feel like if you looked at them, there might have been something else that was like, did they move on, or are they with someone else? Are they happy with somebody else? Do they not did it not affect them at all? But then all of a sudden you saw them and they actually like weren't with people, or they were single, or maybe you thought they were with somebody, but then you realized they were just friends. They slowly moved into that stage of just thinking about themselves, what they're doing, what they've done in the past. And it's interesting because the Six of Feathers is here Normally we see multiple people within the Six of Swords. We see like a family that's moving across, you know, a rocky river to get to the other side so they can start building. But here we see that this person is alone. This person is isolated so that they can focus on themselves and then start building. And we see that immediately followed by building blocks, building their future, getting themselves stable so that they can invite other people in, getting themselves stable so that they can be more flexible, meaning they can adapt to more situations rather than defaulting back on their, you know, King of Pentacles. And I'll say this 1,000 times, King of Pentacles is my favorite king to represent, you know, a significant person in your life, the future spouse, the life partner, you know, husband, wife, whatever, regardless of gender. The King of Pentacles is the best to represent that partner that you want in your life. But at the same time, when it's representing somebody who, like the negative aspects of it, what we're seeing is somebody who is not unlikely to change, somebody who doesn't find fault in a lot of their faults. You know, they could, it's not like a heavily faulted person, but the faults that they do have, they almost seem fine with, and they almost seem bothered when somebody else acknowledges them. So it's like, you know, they're fine with it. Why do you have to bring it up? Or why are you the one that is, you know, making a big deal out of it? And I think we're seeing where they're removing that stubborn, sort of hard-headed, stuck in the ground, kind of like, you know, they're cemented in place energy. They're becoming more flexible, but they're going to almost like draw out the best qualities of the King of Pentacles, which is somebody who's stable, somebody who's consistent, somebody who's reliable, somebody who's dependable, somebody who is loving and dedicated and constantly, you know, showing out, showing you who they are, what they're willing to do for you, and how much they care about you. Because the best traits of that King of Pentacles is that permanence and that desire to maintain that permanence. They don't want it to go away. So they're a hard worker, and you see them becoming that, like the best version of the King of Pentacles rather than the worst version that they might have been, you know, in the past. So a good sort of upheaval, you know, turnaround when it comes to things. I love that energy changing. I also love that it is showing that they're doing a lot of self-reflection. They're doing a lot of work on themselves so that they could be happier, so that they could be almost like, so they can learn to be alone, so that they can appreciate having people in their life, you know, so they can really appreciate you. I think in many ways it just seems like something where they needed to go through this so they can be heartfelt, you know, apologetic, so they can miss you, so they can really understand what it is that they lost. It's almost like the, what is it, what is that movie, A Christmas Carol, you know, like when the ghost comes in, or all the ghosts, and they show them, you know, all the things that they're missing out on, all the things that could have been, all the things that could be, but that they're choosing to almost throw away their lives by not, you know, changing, by not being that better person. I feel like this is sort of like their Christmas Carol moment where they're changing, they're focusing on things, they're moving forward, they're releasing themselves. And it is interesting because several of the stacks have had swords in that position, or at least one of them did. There were some strong swords in that transition energy, and the swords would represent clarity in their mindset. So you're seeing a better person coming out of the sort of like out of the ashes. You're seeing this really great person come through for you. But basically, I do feel like they miss you, and I feel like even now they miss you. But I do think like they might still be in that stubborn energy where they're like, you know, I don't really miss you, but know that they do. That's what I'm seeing here with that rose quartz over there. And this stack, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you're doing well. I hope that some of that or all that was able to resonate with you. I send you all the positive energy, all the good vibes I can. Please have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye. Starting with our fourth stack, we have that purple flash Labradorite over there. I wish that you could see it a little better, but I've already laid out all of the cards. Starting over here, we have the Five of Wands, Death. We have the Ace of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. We have the Page of Acorns. This would normally be the Page of Wands with discovery and enthusiasm. Here we have the Ten of Shells. This would normally be the Ten of Cups with blessings and well-being. Lastly, with our oracle cards, we have All That Glitters as well as Serendipity. So we're starting off with that Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is that big card that says internal conflict. They're beating themselves up over this situation, but at the same time, since they're sort of like entangled in their own head, they're not moving forward. And it's interesting because normally wands, we see forward movement. Those are the mappers, the ones that plan things out and then set out, go out on great adventures. But what we're seeing with the Five of Wands, and normally with all of the fives within the tarot deck, is some sort of conflict, something that is preventing movement, something that is holding them back, and if anything, it's causing a delay. And here I feel like there's multiple things that are going on because of these other cards that are surrounding it. Mainly with the Five of Wands, I'm feeling like they're in their own head, like, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I act that way? Why didn't I change? Why didn't I prevent that? Or why did I not just do this? I feel like almost for some of you, whoever this is that you're thinking about, as I'm reading this, it was like the biggest problem I almost feel like was a quick fix, or there was something they could have done to make the situation better, but they didn't do it. Like, they did all the wrong things, but the one thing that would have made that situation easier to move forward from, or at least easier to handle, but they didn't do that. They almost like chose like the wrong thing every single time, and it only created like a bigger problem or a greater distance between the two of you. I'm not sure if you cut off contact with them or if they cut off contact with you. I'm leaning like if there is no contact between the two of you at all, I'm feeling more so like you cut off contact with them, even if they're the ones that like ended the relationship. I feel like you cut off contact because you were like, this, I can't, I can't handle that. And I think that may have like led to more frustrations for them, but to you, it led you to a better place because you ended up in this like mindset of the Ace of Pentacles. It's forward movement for you, but slowly. Now on their part, you do see a delay into all these other cards, where there's a delay from that Five of Wands into the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is hard work, trying to build up something. So this is where they're almost realization, almost like they're going back and reliving each moment, or they're reevaluating certain things as it comes across them, and they look at it and they think, yep, that was my fault. I handled that poorly, or I didn't realize that's what you meant, or I didn't see it your way, and that's what led to this conflict. Because I think there's a part of them that maybe didn't take it as serious as you did, or maybe didn't realize what it was until it was far too late, and now they're seeing it and it's like it's far away. But what's interesting here is I don't think it's far away. I think it's was meant to create a separation, because I think they're sort of, whatever this is, their mentality that's present within the Five of Wands, I think was disruptive to you. And it's something that you might want to, think back on, reflect on, and realize that it might have prevented you from moving forward because of their, the way that they looked at the world, or the way that they handled certain things. But I think now they're becoming the right person, and I am feeling their energy in the King, or sorry, not in the King, in the Queen of Cups. Regardless of gender, the Queen of Cups is somebody who is more aware of their emotions, more aware of how they put their emotions on other people, and how they take other people's feelings into consideration. So if this person was inconsiderate in the past, you see somebody who's more aware of the sort of like the way that they treat others, the way they disregard things that are important, the way that they might have made you feel like you're not valuable, or you're not worthy, or that, if they made you feel unloved. I think that's another thing that comes out here, is like they're realizing these things and they're bettering themselves, they're focusing on themselves. And I love that between the Eight of Pentacles as well as the Queen of Cups, we see somebody who is almost surrounding themselves with things that bring them peace, not necessarily happiness. And I do want to say that, because I feel like this person misses you and thinks of you, but they're not necessarily happy. They're working on peace, but they're not happy. They want to be happy, but they know it's a ways away because of what they have to do, what they have to go through to get to that stage. And good thing is we finally see the sorting of those Five of Wands into the Page of Wands over here, where things are finally sorted out and there's movement. So I do feel like, if anything, this person misses you and will eventually try to contact you, or try to say something to you to say, hey, I miss you, or I think about you, and you're not somebody that I just moved on from and never looked back on. It changes. And I think though too, there's a realization that something about you was special, and something about you that now they realize they won't ever find in another person. We see that in the 10 of shells, that like completion, the one that brings them the most amount of happiness, the best energy, the like the hope for the future. And I really feel like they just did not really appreciate all that you gave to them, all that you said to them, all that you were for them. I think it's like one of the other stacks I said this, is almost like they took you for granted, where they didn't realize just how much you were doing. And it wasn't until later that they realized like it wasn't something that they necessarily deserved. You know, it was something that you did out of the kindness of your heart, and they just almost looked at it like it was expected. But we do see serendipity in all that glitters, which is brightness, and all that glitters in a positive light. So it's not like that, like all that glitters is not gold. You might need to, you know, reevaluate it. It actually is something that's like, there's a spark, there's hope, there's a sunlight, there's something happy, there's hope, like I said, in the future, you know, something that can bring you a new light, a new day, something really positive. And it's almost giving me same vibes, all that glitters with Ace of Pentacles, like something good can come from this. It's almost like there has to be a cycle that completes itself out with this energy. So know that despite what is going on, I do feel they miss you. I do feel they think about you. I think that there's a lot of energy that they have toward you. I think they're trying to sort it out. They're trying to work on some things. But that's what I'm seeing here with this last deck. And that Purple Flash Labradorite. So let's see if we can get it to Purple Flash before the video's over. One side is a little, ooh, there it goes. One side is a little flashier than the other. There we go. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I hope that you are doing well. I hope that this was able to answer at least some of your questions. I send you all the positive energy, all the good vibes, all the well wishes, all the goodness that I can. Please have a wonderful day, week, and year. Bye-bye.